It is that time of year again. So I have decided to compile a list of some of the books that I would like to read during the Halloween season. So here I will talk about all of the books that I've read so far, the books that I'm currently reading, and the books that I plan to read for Halloween 2015. I've only read 2 so far since the season has just now started up. First one here is Goosebumps, the movie novel. So I'm a huge Goosebumps fan. I have been ever since I was a little kid. So obviously when I watched the trailer for the new movie, I was quite disappointed. It is a complete abomination to my childhood, and I'm not even sure if I want to go see it. But for some reason, I picked up the book. So I was a little bit curious to see how it was going to end up. So with books, I can kind of picture things how I want. I didn't have to picture it the way that the movie was, so that helped a lot. And honestly, the story itself isn't too bad. It's a fun story, it has a lot of heart, but the movie is just the acting and the terrible special effects and everything about it, it just looks so bad. Now, I haven't seen the movie, but with the trailer, I think I've seen enough. I also read Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, which is a YA horror anthology with stories selected by April Genevieve something or other. I can't pronounce her last name. It has stories by Kendar Blake, Jay Kristoff, Jonathan Mayberry, Lee Bardugo, and several other young adult authors. I normally don't have much luck with anthologies. Most of the stories end up being very flat, while there are like 1 or 2 really good stories. But overall, most of the stories in this book were really good. There were a couple stories that weren't great, like Marie Lou's Girl Without a Face story, which is just as cliche as the title sounds. But the rest of the stories were very dark and very original. I've never read anything like a lot of the stories in this book. Now, they weren't super scary, but they just had that eerie factor that just, I don't know, gave me the chills. And most of the other stories in this book were very well written. The writing is definitely the highlight of this anthology. So those were the 2 books that I have already read for Halloween this year, and now I will go on to the ones that I am currently reading. The first one here is another anthology. It is called Haunted Houses by Robert D. Sansucci. It's a little middle grade book full of original short stories written by the author. So far, I'm enjoying this okay. The stories are fun, but they're really not that great. And then I just picked up Lock and Key by Joe Hill. This is the master edition, so it includes the first 2 trade paperback editions. And now I will go on to the books that I am planning on reading this month. I have a lot of books here, and these are just some of the books that I was wanting to read this year. So there is no way I'm going to get to every single one of these. The first one I would really love to get to, and that is the first book in the brand new Fear Street series by R.L. Stine. I'd also like to read Return to Demon Hall by Andrew Nance. I read the first book a long time ago. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's pretty short, so I should be able to get through it pretty quick. Here I have The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith. This is the bind-up that includes the first book, which is The Initiation, and then the first half of the second book, which is called The Captive. I don't know why they decided to split the second book in half and not just publish them individually or just put all 3 books into one, but whatever. I watched the show when it first came on, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I think the books will be a lot better. Earlier this year, I read the first book in the Scary Tales series by James Preller, so I'm going to go on and read a couple more of these books. They're super short, and they can be read in about a half hour, so should be no problem getting to a couple of these. Another book is The Pricker Boy by Reed Scott Wyndham. I ordered this off of Book Outlet about a month ago when they were having a sale. I just think this looks really creepy, and I've heard some good things about it, so I want to get to this too. Oh my goodness, this is one that I've been meaning to get to for years now. I've had it sitting on my shelf, and I've wanted to read it, but I just never picked it up. And that is Killer Pizza by Greg Taylor. And this looks like a lot of fun, and I have to read it at some point, so hopefully I can squeeze it in this year. The Crossroads by Chris Grabenstein. Another book that I got during that same Book Outlet sale about a month ago was Wicked Cruel by Rich Wallace. This is a book of 3 urban legends that are kind of intertwined with each other. I could not be more excited for this one. That is Solstice, which is book 2 in the Devouring Trilogy by Simon Holt. I read the first book about 2 years ago, and I was never able to find the second book. And I just got lucky and found it on sale on Book Outlet, so ordered it. I cannot wait to read it. This is one that I read years ago when I was in 6th grade. I read the first book and then I never read the rest of the series. So I'm starting over with the first one, and that is Cirque du Freak by Darren Chan. This is Juniper Berry by M.P. Kozlowski. I am definitely going to be reading this one for sure. This will be one of the next ones that I read. I don't know why I haven't read this one yet. It's The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with Neil Gaiman's writing. Sometimes I think he can be a little bit too descriptive where it draws away from the story. However, I love his mind and the ideas that he comes up with. So I'm hoping that I enjoy this one. Here is Caught Dead-Handed, which is book 1 in the Witch City Mystery series by Carol J. Perry. It is a Halloween-themed cozy mystery series that takes place in Salem, Massachusetts. So obviously, I have to read this one. And last but not least is Bliss by Lauren Miracle. I have never read any Lauren Miracle before, so I decided I would start with her dark horror novel, of course. So those are some of the books that I would like to get to this Halloween season. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Trick or treat. A book? Books are stupid.